there, it's Ruth from Artful Stampin', coming to you with a new One Sheet Wonder Wednesday, and we're going to be using two of the new in colours. We've got Tip Top Taupe here and Mint Macaron, and we're also only going to be using two stamp sets, and we're going to be using Sheltering Tree, this lovely background stamp, and maybe some of these little dot things here, and Papillon Potpourri. Okay, so if you've seen any of my other One Sheet Wonders, usually they take the form of kind of covering a sheet of paper, whether it be A4 or 12 by 12. This week I'm going to be a little bit more specific about where I stamp. However, it's still using one whole sheet, and we're going to be making a lidded box. Okay. So, because I'm going to be cutting this into sections roughly just under 6 inches or 15 by 15 centimetres square, I'm going to be aiming for my design to be in the centre of those two squares. So, to start off with, I'm going to use the Mint Macaron, ink that up, and I've placed my very vanilla card here so that the edge is against is where it says 6 centimetres here on my grid paper, so I've got kind of like an idea of where I'm headed. So I'm just going to place this in the middle there, like that. And it doesn't have to be exact, it's just roughly, because I'd like to have my main design on the front of my box. And then I'm going to place that at 9 then, so I know roughly where to aim for here, because this is then going to be the liner of my box. Now, it might look confusing at the moment, but it all will be revealed, I promise, when I start cutting this up. Okay, so then I'm going to take the little kind of like dots from I think you're supposed to use them to make flowers, but you know what, you can use them for anything. That's the whole beauty of stamping. You might initially look at a stamp set and think, okay, that can only be used for doing that particular image, but then as you get to play with it, you realise that there's lots and lots of other lovely things that you can do with an image, you know, even by masking it off sometimes or using a portion of it. So it's worth looking at all your stamps to see how else you can use them, what other uses. Okay. I'm just going to dot these around. Okay, I'll be done with that now. So then I'm going to take the Tip Top Taupe. I've got a butterfly image here. I want to get this roughly in the middle of my design. There we go, and then I'm going to be using the solid design here, but I'm going to be doing something with it to try and create a little bit more texture, because I don't actually want to use it as a solid stamp, because I'm using a pattern stamp here, so I don't want to use a solid stamp next to that. So my tip is to get your blender pen, and after you've inked your stamp up, actually take some of the ink off, and I'm just colouring the kind of centre. I don't know if you can see that there. I've taken off from the winged area here and the winged area here, so that then when I stamp it, I have a lighter impression in the middle of there, so it looks more like sort of textured wings. Now, don't forget just to clean off your brush, your blender pen, as you do this, because it does pick up the colour. Okay, I'll just aim that one there, I think. Actually, I think I'm just going to leave it like that. I don't really want to do too much more on there, and I'll get on with cutting this up. So I was doing a lot of measuring and researching, and I have to say I used a fantastic resource on the Crafty Owls blog. If you Google Crafty Owl Box Buster, I can just about get that out of my mouth. She has a fantastic tool on her website where if you tell the if you type in the size box that you want to create, it will tell you the calculations of the size piece of paper that you need to create it. Okay, so it's a really valuable kind of resource. Now, I've got the written instructions somewhere. Oh, there it is. Okay, so I need to cut, first of all, my main pieces of my main squares. And I first of all need to do a cut at 142 millimeters. I'm afraid I did try to do this in inches, but I needed some more precise measurements, so I'm going to be doing this in millimeters. So 142 millimeters cut, and then cut a square here from that. Just going to check I got that. Yeah, 142, and then this one needs to be cut at 136, so I'm going to chop a little bit off the bottom here. Okay, so I've got my two squares there, and then actually I'll come back and cut the other bits later. So then I need to bring in my envelope punch board, she says, looking for it now. Oh, there it is. Okay, and the one that I've cut at 136, the smaller one, I need to first of all punch at 65 millimeters. Now, a word on this, because the box is going to be rectangular, I want this design to be fit on here just right. So the first punch that I need to do is, if you have the paper upright that way and your design going across, you have to punch on the left hand side first. Okay, so I put that in at 65 millimeters, so that's 6.5 centimeters. Punch and score, and then at 86 millimeters, punch and score, and then basically just follow those grid lines all the way round. Okay, I've done that to my first piece of card. So I bring in the second one, the one that measures 142 millimeters. Okay, and again I have my design going across from left to right, top to bottom. I turn the paper that way to do my first punch, and this is going to be at 64 millimeters. And the next one at 92. I'm just going to tip my board up a little bit so I can see it better in the light. There we go. And then just follow the score lines all the way around again. Okay, so I've punched and scored my two pieces of square card, and I can see from where I've got the score lines on here that I might just want an extra bit of a design somewhere on here. So I'm just going to stamp another extra butterfly on the one that's going to be, no, is that the top or the bottom? No, this is the top. This is going to be my lid. So I fancy just popping an extra butterfly on there. Oh, I forgot to use my blender pen. So, oh, blender pen quickly on there. Okay. So then, once I've done that, I hold my card with the longer portion kind of horizontal, and then just cut a little snip into this area here. okay, to create a bit of a flap. Okay, and do that to all the both sides, and then just turn that around and then snip, snip, and then do that the same on that one. Okay, so I've done all the snips. So then the next thing to do is to fold your box along all the different score lines. And then we're going to actually be making quite a sturdy box. So what you do is you have your piece of paper with the pattern facing downwards, then fold the first score line, then fold again, but folding the flap with it. Okay, so just go around doing that to all the sides. Okay, so you fold the first score line, hold it down firmly, and then push down. Okay. Okay, I've done that to both my boxes. Now I do have to say a really big thank you to my downline Lindsay for showing me this technique. We had a little get together last week, and this is one of the things that she showed us, and I'll show you the box that we made with her. It's really lovely. Okay, so then when it comes to gluing it together, my tip is to hold the card like this and then pop a little bit of glue just on the flap there and on the flap there. Then bring that up and then pop that over and tuck the flaps in. Now if you want to pop a little bit of glue on here, you can do, just to sort of help keep it in place. It'd help if I put a little bit more, wouldn't it? There we go. There we go. Then pop these ones in. And then once you've glued those in place, then you just pop this one inside and then this one inside. Okay, so I'll show you that again. Actually, it's quite easy to put the glue down the side like that. Okay, just hold in place for a moment. And as you can see, this makes a double, I don't know what the word is, double-lined, double-sided, so that's what gives it its sturdiness. I just think this would make a lovely box for, you know, a nice piece of jewellery if you're giving somebody a piece of jewellery. Okay, I'll pop that in. Right, so the piece of paper that we're left with here, this is actually going to create our liner. So, oh, I haven't put glue on this, no, it's not sticking down. Okay, it's not actually that important because we're going to be covering that up. So let me just remind myself of what size I need to cut these at. So that one needs to be just under 6 by just under 8. And that one is roughly about 6 by 7.5. Okay, so I'm going to cut this strip at 7.5 to start off with. Oh no, 6. No. I'm getting muddled up. 6. Sorry, forget that. Cut the strip at, say 5.9 centimetres, so 59 millimetres. Cut a bit off the top. Mm, 76 millimetres I think will be fine for this one. Right. That was a little bit too big, so we'll just cut that down a little bit. This is, you can measure and experiment with this because we've created the extra thickness to the box. Sometimes just measuring along the back is not, you know, doesn't always work. So, if I go 5.7 by 7.5, so 5.7. I think it's so pretty to line these boxes as well. Just gives it a really kind of professional finish. That was slightly too big. There we go. There we go, perfect. Okay. So I'm just going to pop a little bit of glue in here to line this. Now make sure you get this the right way up. So look at the front of the box, flip it over, pop that in. Yeah, that's correct. And then I'm going to use a piece of this beautiful new lace. This is in the mint macaron, to finish this off. So that's my lid. Just having to squeeze it in a little bit, but there we go. This is such a pretty colour. It reminds me of the colour of that sort of French furniture. It's beautiful. Right, there we go. That's our One Sheet Wonder Wednesday, and how to make a double-lidded, well, a lidded box out of your sheet of A4. Okay, thank you for joining me. Take care.